In this lesson, we will create a global control and we'll also skin the creature. Now remember in Volume 1 we created an entire repository of controls. So let's pick through that repository to help save some time here creating our global control. We choose File, Import. Underneath your Import folder is where you'll find all of these shapes that we've saved out. Let's now go and grab the triangle shape and choose Open and OK. So the triangle is great because it shows us direction. We know always the direction the global control is facing. Now, what we'll do is go ahead and make sure to bring down its size because here's Rexy right here. It's a little dot we see. So we'll just go ahead and go to our vertex of object level, grab all of our points. We can start to scale all of them down, making sure we scale from the object center. If you're not able to do that, just head over to your pivot menu and make sure it's set to center. Alright, great. So I'll go ahead and press the Z key to zoom on in. It looks like thickness is kind of getting in the way, so I'll go ahead and disable it by going to the rendering rollout and unchecking Enable in Viewport. So bring down the size even more. I think that's going to work out very well. Now if we were to bring back thickness, you can see that, so right now, it's not ideal. You could also see that the pivot point here is slightly off because we scaled from our vertex of object level. But no worries. What we'll do first is adjust our pivot point and then we can reset the X-form on this object and that's going to fix our thickness issue. So we'll head over to our hierarchy panel and we'll choose Effect Pivot Only and now we'll choose Center to Object. Next, let's go to our Utilities tab. We'll choose Reset X-form, Reset Selected. Alright, much better. Now we have the X-form modifier to clean up, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll head back over to Utilities, and we'll go ahead and grab Collapse. We'll use this first choice, Modifier Stack Result, to preserve the state of this object, and we'll now choose Collapse Selected. Alright, great. So next, we can go ahead and work on adding this to a layer. Now, when we exported this out, it was already a part of a layer. So here's the cool thing. If we go to Tools, Manage Layers, you'll see that we already have a controls layer now. That saves us some time. It's great that the FBX file format remembers things like that. Alright, beautiful. So that object is already in its own layer. Let's make sure it's frozen. So we'll go ahead and Alt, right-click and choose Freeze Transform. Now we can go ahead and take our character's root and link to that global node. Alright, great. So from here we'll go ahead and freeze down its transforms. We're good to go. We now have a way to, again, reposition and resize our character. Cool. The next step will be to go ahead and take our IK goals and link to the same object. Eventually, when we add more control objects that should directly influence these IK goals, we'll want to reparent them. But as for right now, it'd be a good idea to make sure they're all linked here. So if we do decide on testing our global control, we can make sure that the entire character will scale or be transformed properly. So we'll go in and grab all of our IK goals. We'll have each of those linked to our global control. Alright, so from here, we can now go ahead and freeze their transforms. And you'll see that when we grab that global control and we start to, let's say, resize it, or we start to rotate it, everything's working just fine. Okay, let's go ahead and undo back. And now it's time to skin Rexy. So we already know the steps involved. Let's head over to Manage Layers, and we'll unfreeze our model. Let's start with the easiest task first. That would be the eyes and the little tooth here. If you want to, you can always add eye bones and eye controls, but we're not going to take that step because we have other things to cover. And since you already know how to do that, you can freely go in and add an eye rig if you would like. Alright, but again, with these three objects selected, it's actually two objects since the eyes are combined. But with these objects selected, we'll head over to our modifier list. Now press the S key a few times until we find our skin modifier. Okay, let's go ahead and find our head bone, and we'll skin all of those to the head. So we'll choose add, and we'll type in bn underscore head. There it is. Let's go ahead and choose select. Great, so when we grab the head bone, as we start to move it, you can see everything follows. Now to skin the entire character. Well, again, we already know the process here, and there shouldn't be any envelope objects to remove. So all we need to do is go ahead and add our skin modifier. There we go. And then, underneath our add list, let's go ahead and type in bn underscore. Go ahead and choose select. There we have it. So all objects have now been added to our skin, and we can start to test things out. We can grab, let's say, one of the neck bones, and we can start to kind of move that around. You can see that our skinning needs a bit of work. We could always go to our shaded mode, enter into edit envelope mode, and we can take a look at our envelope capsules. Remember, you can start to tweak these till you manage to get a better result from your skinning. So we have these outer regions that we can start to tweak. Go ahead and pull those out a bit more to increase the influence. Great. And then when we get to areas like the neck, again, we can start to increase the influence that these objects have, just so we get some better results initially. Alright, great. So I just recommend going through and playing around with your envelope capsules until you manage to find a better result for your skin. We will be spending the next lesson going through some skinning techniques. But as of right now, we can just go ahead and start to kind of test things out. So if we were to grab the head bone, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Start to rotate that around. All right, so that's a little bit better, but we still have some influence that is being lost. So let's say we go ahead and stop the lesson here, and in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and learn some skinning techniques to help save some time and get some really nice looking deformations.